Thank you for being in this space, the Chiropractic Universe by Dr. David Serio. We are very grateful that you are here.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another English edition of the Chiropractic Universe. Today, I am so honored to have a great friend. I've known Dr. Mark Romano since my days at Sherman. So we've known each other for 24 years now. He's someone that I have the utmost respect for in who he is first as a person and as a chiropractor. He has my utmost respect. I've seen him speak many times. We've talked so many times, and let's jump right in. We have some great content for you today. Mark, thank you so much for being here.
Man, David, thank you for having me, bro. Super excited. Love what you're doing, brother.
Likewise. So, Mark, tell for the people that maybe don't know you or listening for the first time, kind of give us a little bit of your background. Like, when did you go to school? Where did you go to school? How'd you get into chiropractic? What you're doing? Give us like a brief history of Dr. Mark Romano.
I'll go as brief as I can. 13 years old. I'm living outside of Boston. This is about 1983. Going to the library, really enjoying a lot of weightlifting, bodybuilding. So I get a book, Franco Columbo's Complete Book of Bodybuilding. One of my childhood heroes. I had quite a few. And he was all these things. He was a bodybuilder, a powerlifter, an Olympic weightlifter, a boxer. And he was also a chiropractor. And there was one sentence that changed my life. It said something to the likes of bones in our spine misalign and produce nerve interference. And that interferes with your body's ability to function right. So I correct that interference by giving adjustments. And I thought, as a kid, I'm like, that's amazing. I would have something like that done every week. And then I thought, I want to do that. So it was like big idea in just 1 second. Was it divine intervention? I mean, who knows? Probably. So then I went to undergrad 1990. Or actually, no, I went to Palmer in 1990. I started undergrad in 87. Went to Palmer College in Davenport, Iowa. Graduated in 93. And man, I just wanted to go out. I just wanted to go serve the world. So I'm actually licensed in 3 states. Massachusetts, where I was raised, South Carolina, where I was promised some jobs, and Mississippi. And so I've been licensed, almost 30 years in all 3 states. And an opportunity came up in Mississippi, and I thought, yeah, I think I can find, I don't even know where it was. I had to get the map out, right? So I find it. I was like, I'll stay here for a couple months. 30 years later, here I am, Mississippi, 3 practices, consulting and teaching chiropractors around the world, online training course in communication, selling, closing, and taking on associates for 3 to 5 years and helping groom them for massive success in every way in practice. So we are like the transition between whether it's school and practice or, success in practice, because I have seen chiropractors come work with me that were in practice on their own, and maybe a couple pieces just were missing. They come, they work with me 3 to 5 years, boom, and then they go and rock and roll, man. It's very exciting.
Mark, amazing. And, I want to share a couple things of what you said. Number one, chiropractic, our mentor, Reggie Gold, I mean, he made the message simple. And look, Mark read one line and it changed his life. Sometimes we tend to complicate chiropractic. It's really simple, and powerful. And, one thing I want to say is Mark and I had some of the same mentors. Dr. Reggie Gold, in my opinion, the master of philosophy. I still listen to him every day. But, even having Reggie Gold in my life personally and listening to him, I still struggled from school to practice, because also Dr. Reggie Gold practiced way before I got out of school. So in my opinion, going and working with someone like Mark that has done this for 30 years, knows how to practice, I mean, you will save years and years and years in your path and save tons of money. And instead of making a million mistakes, Mark already made them. I already made them, and so
We
so
did.
do you have any spots open right now, Mark? Like for anyone that's watching this?
I have 2 spots. I have 2 spots open, 45% of what you collect, and a place to stay. You are literally surrounded by chiropractic every single day as you grow and nurture. And we take your growth very personal. We take your growth very serious. So we want to help in that transition from where you ever may go from here to make sure you are absolutely ready, that you can sell it, close it, create massive attention for it, and deliver the service as well.
And Mark and I have a lot in common, but one of the things that we both understand very clearly that we weren't taught in school, that your growth as a human being is equal to your success in practice. It's not just about it's like this is, if you don't understand success principles, it doesn't matter how good you are as a chiro. We both know amazing chiros, great at technique, love chiropractic, but struggle in practice and economically. No, Mark, what would you say to that?
I would say you don't have to struggle. Being an amazing chiropractor and being congruent with principles and your values is not a vow of poverty. A lot of times we have these poverty mindsets, so we just don't know how to communicate the value of what we do. And this is not something that people can get in just one consultation or orientation. Yes, it is simple, and it needs to be reminded on each visit, and it's very simple. I mean, to me, I thought when people said no or they'll think about it, that's what they meant. It's just not the case. That's not how the mind works. What they're saying is you haven't made it relevant. So when you understand how the mind works and how to make it relevant.
Great point. You haven't made it relevant. So when they say that, Mark, it's like, you didn't show me the value of what you're doing for my life. Basically, is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Whenever people buy anything, whenever they purchase anything, you have 3 things that they're looking for. The ultimate is what they're looking. You have the features, you have advantages, and you have benefits. Features, we can go on all day long on how great chiropractic is, and in 3 to 4 minutes, you've lost them forever. Their mind goes off into la la land because you hypnotize them, and now they're falling asleep. Then there's the advantages. That the advantages is what makes you and I different as chiropractors, even within our profession. And then the reality is people only buy the benefits. How is this going to benefit me? How do you know what kind of benefits they're looking for? By asking the right questions. Questions are very powerful. So, I'll ask people, okay, well, what has brought you in today? And this is in the consultation. I prefer to do it one family at a time. Mm-hmm. And when they tell me what brought them in, regardless if it's symptomatic or not, I ask them, how long has it been going on? And then the real value comes from you asking, have you ever seen a chiropractor before? This is where you're going to get the real benefit of what they're looking for.
Okay, so I just want to have this clear, Mark. I say to you, I'm your client, and you say, why'd you come in? And I say, Mark, I've had this back pain, whatever, and I saw your advertisement.
Right. Or a friend told you. Well, I'm glad that you're here. Yes. How long has this been going on for?
Okay, I say like 7 years.
Wow. Did anything bring it on? Any type of trauma or accident or anything of that nature?
I don't really remember.
I understand. Now, let me ask you, have you ever seen a chiropractor before?
Just once, like years and years ago.
Years and years ago. Did you enjoy going?
No, I didn't really like the person.
Didn't like the person? So did that keep you from going? There just wasn't that connection, that rapport.
Exactly. And I didn't even know what it was. Like they didn't explain anything.
Okay. All right. I totally understand. Well, of course, we want to make you comfortable. Everybody has a different way of how they practice. Our intent is to make you really comfortable, have great rapport, explain how we can help you, and then answer all your questions. So what just happened there, brother, was this. And this is very common dialogue that happens. And you know this because we've both been in practice a long time. I discovered, okay, you've been suffering for a long time. you saw a chiropractor, there wasn't rapport. So what's important to you is knowing that the person that you're talking to cares about you, is going to be honest with you, is going to take the time to explain what they can do to help you, and then answer your questions. Great, this is the information that I have. So we're going to go through this consultation, and we're going to explain things in a way that's easy to understand and fun. Doesn't take a long time, just like you said, very simple, 3 to 5 minutes in the body. And then we'll go into the different packages that we offer. And then we open up to questions. So that was exactly how it goes.
I have a question, Mark. I have a question. Okay, so one of the things I hear from chiropractors, okay, is how do I take the person? So you got a person that comes in for back pain, right? And now you want to show them the benefits, but you also want to remain true to your principles. So how do you take that person and show them the benefits of chiropractic? This is what I want to know from you. How do you do that? And when they say then, so Mark, what's going to happen with my back pain? Kind of lead us through this, Mark. Like, how do you do it? How do you do it? I want to know.
Okay, now this is challenging, because in the body of my consultation, when we're actually, because you have 3 parts to the consultation. You have the introduction, where you're asking questions and they're talking 80% of the time. You have the body of the consultation, where you're talking 100% of the time. And then you have the close, where you're actually talking about the fees and getting people to sign up. So where you're talking about, and I'm going to take you for a little walk through my office here.
Yeah. Thank you. Awesome.
So this is my waiting room that we're in right now. And now we're going to go into my consultation room. And in my consultation room, once I get through, and I'll have the spine right over here, and I explain vertebral subluxations in the spine. Then once I put that down, one of the things I do to lower the action threshold, that's when people are actually going to buy, is I'll put statements throughout the consultation. Like in this particular, once I'm done explaining, I'll say, look, the worst thing that's going to happen here is the quality of your life improves over time, because people run movies in their mind. And a lot of times it's these negative movies of, oh, this bad thing could happen, that bad thing could happen. And they're always wondering, what's the worst that can happen? And for some people, that movie's playing so loud, they can't hear you. So to comfort them, the worst thing that's going to happen here is the quality of your life will improve over time. So then I'll say, now, chiropractic is a big picture service. And what does that mean? And I have here, as you can see, it's a poster. It's got the schematic of a brain and spinal cord, and then it shows sort of all the nerves in the periphery. I was like, what does it mean that chiropractic is a big picture service? It means this: the brain and spinal cord controls every nerve function in the body, everything going on here, okay? Life is flowing throughout the body. When vertebral subluxations occur, they interfere with the expression of life. They interfere with the function of this organ. That can interfere with any physiological function in the body, any physiological function. What I cannot do is correlate a subluxation to a specific area, symptom, or condition. Why? First, because the brain and spinal cord controls everything. And second, there is more than one thing that can go wrong in the body. As we said earlier, nothing is a cure-all. So rather than
hold on. I love this. I want to repeat this, because that was an unbelievable 3 phrases there. Chiropractic is a big picture service, and what I can do is this coordinates all your function, but what I can't do is correlate it specifically to a symptom, condition, or organ, because there are many things that affect that. That's an unbelievable power line right there.
Absolutely.
Love that, brother. Love that.
Thank you, bro. And we also want to remember that, and people can visually see this, the brain and spinal cord controls everything. So we can't narrow it down to one area. And what we focus on specifically is that knowing that these vertebral subluxations are interfering with the expression of life. And that's an unbelievably bad thing. And when we correct them, that's unbelievably powerful, because you have a better expression of life. And because we cannot correlate it to any symptom or physiological function, takes nothing away from the power of this habit.
So what happens, Mark? I got a question, okay? Because this is a common question sometime in our practice. So someone says, okay, Mark, everything sounds great, but what I want to know is what's going to happen with my pain. Mark, I understand what you're saying. and I got it. Sounds awesome. But what do you personally think's gonna happen with my pain? What's your answer to that question?
It's a great question. I'm going to be as honest with you as possible. The most important thing from this consultation and our relationship forward is honesty. I cannot predict how you're going to feel. I've been doing this for 30 years, and I would tell you nobody can predict how you're going to feel. But what I can say with absolute certainty is that your body is going to function better when these vertebral subluxations are corrected. And I'm going to go a step further, that no matter what else you do in life, you will never get the best experience so long as vertebral subluxations are compromising the lifeline of your body.
Love it. Love it. And love it. Mark, that was awesome. And when we say brother to each other, we're literally fraternity brothers in Delta Sigma Chi.
That's right.
And, you know, and I want to kind of change the structure right now and talk about that a little bit, because Mark, I don't know if a lot of people know the history and really how important Delta Sigma Chi was for the profession. And Mark really was active for a long time in taking leadership there. So I want to change completely the path we're on right now, Mark, and tell anyone listening really a little bit of the history of Delta Sigma Chi, why it was so important, who started it, and what it's about. Are you still active? Kind of share a little bit about that.
Man, you know, it's the oldest chiropractic organization in the profession. It was started early 1900s, I believe 1918, and basically
by BJ Palmer, right? By BJ Palmer.
BJ was a member, and now I used to hear that he was an honorary, but lately some of the brothers, when I was up there visiting at Sherman, said that he actually pledged, that they had a special pledge period for him. So he wasn't one of the founding members.
Okay.
But
oh, wow.
Yeah, he loved the fraternity. And Delta Sigma Chi, of course, stands for Doctors of Straight Chiropractic. They saw a need for a Greek organization in chiropractic. So you had some fellas start the organization. And from there, it grew to where, and BJ loved it. So you had the fraternity was a very important part of people pledging on campus. BJ had the 4th floor dedicated to Delta Sigma Chi in the Ryan building, I believe it was. And, BJ at all the special functions and events, the fraternity was a part of on campus. And anybody who went to Palmer at this time, and of course, Palmer is considered the fountainhead because all the schools came from Palmer. Basically Palmer started in 1897 as Palmer School of Chiropractic and Infirmary. And the very first class, 6 months, opened up another school down the street, Universal Chiropractic College. And impressively, it's still in business today. They moved to Chicago, and it's now National School of Health Sciences. So that was the first school that was spawned by the Palmers, and every school thereafter. Now, when you were on campus, once the fraternity was established, everybody pledged. So you had, Sid Williams pledged the fraternity. I'm told now BJ Palmer, J. Clay Thompson, Clarence Gonstead, all these powerful people, of course, you and myself. And I believe what the fraternity does, it represents an ideal. Now, it doesn't mean that all the fraternity brothers are going to go out and practice as straight chiropractors. What it means is there is an ideal that's on campus, and now the fraternity is going to more and more campuses, not only in the United States, but over in Europe, to where, that it represents an ideal where brothers and people from the, of all genders can come and talk about chiropractic and talk about philosophy and discuss technique and idealize, how should this profession be? What direction should we go in? Debate different techniques, debate philosophy. And I think that these are very important things in the growth process of a chiropractor,
Beautiful. Yeah, Mark. And, I was blown away when I went to visit Palmer. I actually visited to see you in a IFCO seminar. You know, I
Oh,
visited
wow.
Palmer a few times, but I just remember this is the first time I heard you speaking. We were in this huge auditorium, and I don't even think you used the mic. I was like way up in the back, and you could hear your voice. Like it was unbelievable. But I remember when I visited, you know, the BJ's, the fraternity house there, and
Yeah.
all the history and tradition, and looking at all the people that pledged the fraternity. You know, I mean, that richness of tradition. And I love how you said it, the idea, it represents an ideal. And
Yes.
I personally think, and I know Mark feels this way, in chiropractic, we do have one of the greatest gifts for humanity in
Yes.
something that's simple, natural, effective, can help everyone from birth to death in every condition, with symptoms, without symptoms. Then in every single situation can always be positive for the human life. And
Yes.
not only that, but the philosophy. You know, Mark, I really believe that 50% of our service is also teaching people the principles. You know,
Yeah.
and I think a big part of what we do is shifting consciousness, but based on the chiropractic principles. You know, and even if you really understand those principles, they're actually success principles also. They're life principles, you know, when you really understand the 33 principles. And
no question. Absolutely. Being genius. Absolute genius.
Genius, totally. And on one hand, I feel like there are chiropractors still understanding that ideal and that essence, and more are looking for this. But on the other side, there's a huge part of the profession that, in my opinion, is far from that. And that starts with the schools and stuff. So my last question for you is, how do we turn on more chiropractors to the essence of our beautiful gift that we have?
That's a great question. And I've been thinking about that for 30 years. We're going to have to create more attention. It's, you know, success will always follow attention. And you talked about success principles earlier. I want every chiropractor to at least be exposed to this, so they can at least have the information to make an informed decision. And I remember Reggie talking. Reggie says, you know, you got your mixers on one side, you got your folks so straight they can't even bend over on the other side. He says, and then here's me way over here as a non-therapeutic chiropractor and teacher. And he just wanted to take that median line, that median average, and bring it a little bit closer to the side of straight chiropractic. You see, so I think we're all responsible. We're all responsible for everything that we say and do in our offices. And I think when we are more informed, for these chiropractors who maybe never heard any of this, maybe they went to a college that sort of frowned on the philosophy. And I've always been like, well, if you don't have any powerful why, reasoning, logical reasoning of why you're doing what you're doing, you know, what the hell are you doing? You know, and so I think that if we can create some attention to show people the beauty in the logic and the simplicity and the congruency of what we do, I think more chiropractors would be turned on to this form of practice. You know, I've been in practice 7 days a week for 30 years. I love what I do. You know, I have apartments in my offices.
7 days a week, 7 days a week.
Yeah, 7 days a week. I just love this, man. I just love this. You know, Sundays I'll come in for a couple hours, and that's probably my 2 busiest hours of the week. I'll see 50, 60 people in that time, you know, and right after church. And I believe Reggie and even Robert Lincoln, they also said Sundays was a pretty big day for them. So I just love doing this. I love practicing. Now, will I always go 7 days a week? Probably not. Will I always be in practice? Yeah, probably at least practice 1 or 2 days a week. I would like to get 2 or 3 chiropractors into one, take them to a whole nother level, help them serving more people and making tons of money doing so. And I think having the sound reasoning of why, because there are times, David, I know when you moved to Argentina, I know when you went down there with your vision, as powerful as it is, you went through some desperately hard times. Yes. And if you didn't have a powerful why, if your reasoning, if your logic, if your philosophy, if your values weren't massively powerful, there's no way you would have stayed down there.
No way. No way.
So I think when chiropractors know what we know, it literally, just like you said, it makes their lives better, more enriched, happier, and more fulfilling.
Beautiful. So when we end, we're going to get Mark's information how to contact him, but there's so many gems here, but there's something I want to hit on that Mark just said. Mark and I were in a seminar in Brazil together called The Life Evolution. And I don't know what I asked Mark, but it was about hours. And he said, I'm there 7 days a week, but I only go in my prime times. And I thought that was so, it just like blew my mind. I never thought about that. I would literally do 6 hours straight. And a lot of those hours were kind of like slow. So I had literally out of 6 hours, 2.5 hours of prime time. And I'm like, hold on. That's genius. So he's really available 7 days a week. So the weekends are when people are more free, when they're with their kids. But it's not like he's in practice all day. So he has tons of free time for himself, but also he's serving in the prime times. I just thought that was genius. And I personally don't know anyone on the planet that does 7 hours, that does 7 days. As a matter of fact, most of the chiros I talked to today are trying to do, I want everyone to receive this, but they're trying to work so little and they're not making it accessible. So, you were able to find a balance where you can serve everyone every day, but you still have a lot of time for yourself. And that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to train. I'm going to eat good. I'm going to go. I'm going to have fun, man. Everything is fun that I do because our lives, and I know same for you, we created our lives to be this way. And you and I have both been through some rough things, and it's made us stronger. It's changed us in a lot of ways. And we talked about it earlier. There are things we could do better than before, and there are things that we can do not the same as we could when we were in our 20s. And that's just how it is. You play toward your strengths. And yeah, you should. If you don't enjoy it, man, what's the point? At this point, I'll be 53 this year. If I'm not having fun, and I'm very selective on people coming into my practice because I want it to be a good fit. And if it's not a good fit with me, I'll be glad. 17 other chiropractors. I'm always building other chiropractic offices. So, we have a wonderful way of qualifying our members. So we have a great.
And you're all cash as well, right? You're not in the insurance game.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay.
That's amazing. So I really want anyone watching this. Mark is a great resource, just a fabulous human being, as you can see, and has a ton of wisdom. So Mark, to end this, we want to ask you, where do we get in touch with you? Where's the best way? Give us some links, some sites, whatever. Tell people where they can get in touch with you.
I'm going to say, my cell phone number is 662-488-5234. Also, if you'd like a link.
Repeat that again a little slower.
Sure. 662-488-5234.
Great.
And you can call, you can leave a message. I'll return it as soon as I'm available. Also, if you'd like to check out a link of our online training program, where we have hundreds of videos. I even have a wonderful video of my interview with you that I love. Check out ntscinstitute.com, and it'll take you to our landing page and lots of information there. And you can contact me from there as well.
Repeat that one more time, Mark. What's the site?
ntscinstitute.com.
Great. Mark, thank you so much for your time. It's always an honor and a pleasure. And hopefully we'll see you soon in person. Thank you so much. Thank you all for sharing these videos. Thank you for your comments, for your questions. Feel free to reach out. Thank you all. Love having you in the chiropractic universe.
Thank you, David.